Hello and welcome to another video by Rick Miracle Me in my series Freemasonry and Satanism. Lordy lordy, am I connecting the dots or what? Freemasons, Satan, Lucifer, Moloch, Rephaim, Baal, Beli, all these demonic entities, some ancient religion. Apparently on Ron Paul's channel, I was watching a video this morning where apparently Congress is trying to pass some legislation making it illegal to boycott Israel, probably even say negative things about Israel. And in his video, he was questioning whether that would pass the First Amendment in the Constitution, freedom of speech. So some crazy things happening. I've been making some videos on this book, The Jewish State, Theodor Herzl. 1896 is when he wrote this book. And we see the six-pointed star. What does that mean? Does it mean anything? Or is it just there by accident? The two stripes. Apparently it does mean something. The Jewish state. So what is a Jewish person? Is it a race or is it a religion? Or is it both? Or is it some kind of demonic satanic cult? Should we be asking these questions? What does the Bible say? Lots of questions. Confusing to most people, and I don't blame people. That's why I painstakingly make these videos, one tidbit at a time of information. That's the only way I think I can kind of come to grips with it. So this ought to be a very interesting video. I think I'll start out by reading from the book a little bit first, and then move into some other material and some pictures. So where I'm starting here, I left off on Series 252, Freemasonry and Satanism Book Review, Part 3, so this will be Part 4. Today is February 16th, 2019. The Effects of Anti-Semitism. So 1896, Theodor Herzl writes this book, The State of Israel, his plan for the Jewish people to have their own sovereign nation so they can escape anti-Semitism that they find no matter where they go all over the world for 1800 years, 18 centuries. Now it would be 20 centuries, 2,000 years. So what is it that compels anti-Semitism to raise its ugly head? And does it just naturally occur? Or is somebody bringing it about with some kind of intention? One of the consequences of it, it would make many Jewish people seek refuge with other Jewish people if they are being attacked. And apparently that's one of the reasons they have done it. The oppression we endure does not improve us. The oppression we endure does not improve us, for we are not a whit better than ordinary people. It is true that we do not love our enemies. But he alone who can conquer himself dares reproach us with that fault. Oppression naturally creates hostility against oppressors. And our hostility aggravates the pressure. It is impossible to escape from this eternal circle. So oppression naturally creates hostility. He wrote in 1896. And I say, the oppression of we the people here in the United States and certain countries all over the world where these people have taken control of the politicians and the money supply, they're creating oppression in our societies, which naturally creates hostility, as he's writing here. I'm just turning it around back at them. So they call our natural reaction of hostility towards the oppression that they're forcing on us, anti-Semitism. So of course people would rise up when they are oppressed. And we the people all over the world have been oppressed for quite a while. World War I, World War II, Russian Revolution, French Revolution, British Revolution, executing the kings, controlling the money, bringing about all these wars, killing a lot of other people. Just imagine if these people didn't exist. What kind of world would exist without world wars and oppression and the financial controllers, apparently into some Kabbalah, satanic type of religion? I wonder what the world would be like without them. Garden of Eden, maybe? Just thinking, asking questions. So back to this book here. No, some soft-hearted visionaries will say, no, it is possible. Possible by means of the ultimate perfection of humanity. It is necessary to point to the sentimental folly of this view. He who would found his hope for improved conditions on the ultimate perfection of humanity would indeed be relying upon a utopia. Referred previously to our assimilation. I do not for a moment wish to imply that I desire such an end. Our national character is too historically famous, and in spite of every degradation, too fine to make its annihilation desirable. So I'm reading this, and this is what Theodor Herzl says in 1896. Our national character is too historically famous. And he also says in this material, we've been suffering for 1,800 years. And of course now it would be 2,000 years. But their annihilation is not desirable. We might perhaps be able to merge ourselves entirely into surrounding races if these were to leave us in peace for a period of 2 generations. But they will not leave us in peace. For a little period they manage to tolerate us, and then their hostility breaks out again and again. And again, I wrote the question here. And then their hostility breaks out again and again. The world is provoked. And I wrote down, why did hostilities break out again and again for 2,000 years? And then that other sentence up above that I underlined, our national character is too historically famous, and in spite of every degradation, too fine to make its annihilation desirable. For a little period they manage to tolerate us, and then their hostility breaks out again and again. The world is provoked. Why? What is it that we don't know? What does this 6-pointed star mean? So maybe this is a good time to look at some pictures. So I went on Yahoo image site, and I looked up this God, fallen angel, mentioned in the Bible. Star of Rephaim, probably saying it wrong, Rephaim, Mark of the Beast, Part 1. So you can go on Yahoo image site, look up this name, R-E-M-P-H-A-N. That's the god or demon god mentioned in the Bible, associated with Moloch, who's associated with Baal, B-A-A-L, where they were putting the archways of Baal in New York, London, and later through the UNESCO, the Education and Science Department of the United Nations. They were putting 1,000 archways to Baal, the devil, i.e. associated with Moloch and apparently Rephaim, this fallen angel. And that's his symbol, the six-pointed star. That's the symbol for Rephaim. That's the symbol for Rephaim. Moloch, Baal. I've showed this in other ones. So I've been trying to get my head around these pictures. But apparently, it has 6 points, 6 triangles, and a hexagram 6. And apparently that would be 666, which is the mark of the beast. So apparently I went online and looked up Rephaim, however you say it. Is my Zoom going to zoom up all right? There we go. So the six-pointed star represents Rephaim and Moloch, just like it says in this picture. I didn't make this picture. Rephaim is Saturn. Saturn is Satan. And you see the bull in the middle of the six-pointed star. And I've been paying attention to these other characters. So this is a talisman, some kind of amulet, something you would carry to curry favor or protection, curry favor with the demon gods. You see Moloch there, and you see the sacrifices they make to Moloch. And you can go on Yahoo image site and just put in Rephaim and find these pictures. Click the pictures and it'll take you to the website, and you can figure this out for yourself. On the first face is engraved a pentagram or a star with 5 points. And I've said before, the 5-pointed star and the 6-pointed star are interchangeable as representations of these deities. The 5-pointed star could be Lucifer, upside down. It's the devil, Satan. 6-pointed star, obviously with the bull in this picture. If this is an ancient talisman, like a coin, represents Moloch. And this is a coin with 2 sides. One with the 5-pointed star, one with the 6-pointed star. So we can see the symbols. And then you have symbols for planets, and you have Hebrew symbols on these coins. The pentagram or a star with 5 points. On the other side is engraved a bull's head enclosed with a 6-pointed star. And even on this Moloch character, we see the all-seeing eye on his chest, surrounded by letters composing the name Rephaim. So that's the name with the bull, Rephaim, the planetary genius of Saturn, according to the alphabet of the Magi, magicians. I guess it's in a book, Christian, page 304. And child sacrifices were offered to both Moloch and Saturn. Moloch is also known as Chiun, a deity, bull god you see on the bottom there, and mentioned in the Bible also. So like I said, I'm slowly putting this together. And of course the 5-pointed star needs no explanation. You can go look up witchcraft or goat god or Satan, and you'll find plenty of these symbols. And this is the 6-pointed star, but the 5-pointed star inverse on his head, on his forehead. So both stars are on this picture, Rephaim and Satan. 6-pointed star, and on the top of his head it looks like some pointy thing with flames coming out, the 2 horns, and the inverted 5-pointed star. So I just found these pictures. I did not go click all these links, but you can see the Israeli flag there. And this picture says it's the Star of Rephaim, and also versus the SWAT sticker, which apparently, as we all know, Hitler and the other leaders of Germany back then were into the occult, Vril Society, Thule Society. So when you talk about these beings apparently in the underworld, were they demonic beings that are said to be in the underworld, even in the Bible? Here's another picture when you go on Yahoo image site. The Rothschilds are not the only Knights of Malta. Among other Knights of Malta, we find characters such as the Nazi Hermann Göring. He's wearing the four-pointed star, as you see on the bottom here. And the Babylonian winged sun Maltese cross is a four-pointed star in that winged picture on the top. Same symbol this Nazi person is wearing. And even the King and Queen of England wear the Knights of Malta badges. And here is the Knight of Malta Grandmaster Matthew Festings kissing the hand of his master, the Pope. So this Knights of Malta symbol has a swastika. And if you go look up pictures of the Queen of England, you'll see the Knights of Malta badge on her dress, as well as the other royal families with the Knights of Malta symbol, the same that's on this flying wings ancient symbol, Babylonian winged sun Maltese cross. So I thought maybe the pictures would help me understand these people who say our national character is too historically famous, and in spite of every degradation, too fine to make its annihilation desirable. And I guess one of the things these people are famous for is having Jesus Christ crucified, who Jesus Christ was preaching we are to love one another, and was the prophesied Savior that was told to the people that would come. The problem is the people back then, the elite Jews and the Pharisees, didn't want a king who would preach love and kindness towards other people. They wanted a king to lead them in battle to destroy all of their enemies. And I'm curious in my mind asking this question: why do we need enemies? Why can't we people on this planet get along? But apparently they're controlling the world politicians and world governments right now. And it seems like they're setting the stage for invasion or some activity into Venezuela. Some crazy stuff in the news right now. And politicians like Bolton saying negative things, and also seemingly posturing towards some kind of aggressive activity towards Iran. So who are these people who control our country, our banking system, planning to bring us this global world order? So here's another picture on the website, Yahoo image website, the Star of David, and apparently aligning with some stars in the constellation. You see the Pleiades, the Cross of Heaven, the Edge of God, Endurus, Sirius. We've heard all about this. Sirius Disclosure, Stephen Greer. So trying to figure this stuff out is a bit challenging. And apparently over there in Mecca, every year when all the Muslims, Islamists go there and walk around this giant cube, it's part of some religion associated with Saturn. In the United Nations, they have a black cube in the meditation room. And the rabbis you see in pictures over there in Israel and the world wear little black cubes on their head. And apparently the little black cube fits into this star of Rephaim, Moloch, Baal, Saturn, Satan, as you can see here. So it has something to do with the cube, the six-pointed star, and other pictures I've shown. Apparently part of, here they depict the six-pointed star over the Kabbalah tree of life. And they use really nice words. I can see how it could deceive people. But there's the circle around the two pyramids, one pointing up, one pointing down, and the Sephiroth, the Kabbalah symbol, meaning, I guess, other spheres or dimensions, and the words they put on this symbol would just make a person cry and say, this is just too nice. Intellect, wonderment, wisdom, judgment, mercy, love, logic, intuition, foundation, earthly kingdom, heavenly kingdom. How are you going to argue with those words? What can we believe? What can we trust? What do we know? All right, let's look at some more pictures here. Apparently, they have these names for God or some kind of deity, and you can see how they pronounce it on the bottom. Lamed Kaf Yad Tet on these six-pointed stars, which apparently go way back in history on ancient monuments, as you can see here. So it's been around quite a while. And it is part of the Jewish mysticism. And of course, mysticism would be associated with alchemy and the Kabbalah, the Zohar, the Talmud, the ancient mystery religion of Babylon, associated with Saturn, Satan, Rephaim, Isis, Osiris, Moloch, Baal. This is an interesting picture here, but apparently the Jews actually never heard of or used the six-pointed star symbol before the year 1648, with the exception of the time between 700 and 400 BC. When it was used by Jews as well as non-Jews in magic spells. So historically, the six-pointed star was only used for magic spells about 300 years, 400 years before Jesus Christ was born. And then after 1648, they were using it again, and apparently it was used in magic spells, according to this picture on the Yahoo image site. In any case, it is rather amusing to know that the Jewish symbol, which is today on the flag of Israel, was actually given preeminence by Venetian Jesuits as demanded by the German Emperor Ferdinand III. It was incorporated into the design of a flag to honor the Jewish soldier who defended Prague from the Swedes in 1648. Over here on the other side of the card, apparently Adolf Hitler, who was the satanic theophist and occultist, forced the Jews to wear a hexagram as a badge of shame. So the star for Rephaim, Moloch, the demon being, Saturn, Satan, Hitler made them wear that badge. And it should be noted that during antiquity and the Middle Ages, the Jews possessed neither a national nor a religious symbol, even though various symbols were occasionally used, mostly the seven-armed chandelier, the official symbol of Israel, and the mounting lion. There's a lion in this picture. So something else I saw a rabbi or a so-called Christian minister preaching, and he had a Jewish shawl on his head. Here's a six-pointed star, and apparently that particular person had the Kabbalah hand gestures, and his name was Jonathan Cahn, C-A-H-N, and the rabbis are called rabbis because they're called the Great Exalted Ones, and when they're preaching, they use these Kabbalah magic hand symbols, and this one's overlaid the six-pointed star. Mystical rabbi, secret knowledge, writes book about the mysteries, the magical Shah, the blue stripes on the shawl that they wear, the Aaronic blessings, Zohar, says used in Kabbalah hand signs, gestures. So Rick Willis, W-I-L-E-S, on a video I was watching explains all this, exposes Kabbalah Satanism on True News. So I have to go look at a lot of different material to understand this stuff. Here's another picture that was on the Yahoo image site when I looked up Rephaim, and it says here the Star of David with a question mark. Nowhere in the Bible or the Talmud is this referenced as the Star of David. However, the Bible does reference this six-pointed star to be the Star of Rephaim, belonging to Moloch, Satan. So I'm putting two and two together very slowly. I don't make up these pictures. I just go on the internet, look them up, check out the websites, read some material. We're all familiar with this one, and a lot of people are aware of this, but the Starbuck symbol, the crown, and the five-pointed star above her head, that would be Satan. As we've already seen, Starbucks, star above her head, and it resembles the god Ishtar, Astarte, Illuminati satanic cult and its symbolism. The Starbucks logo is dedicated to the goddess Astarte. And if you look at logos of these international corporations, you'll see 666 and rising suns and other occultic symbolism. So apparently they're using this magic and occultism to be able to control our world and even feed the people toxins in the foods and the waters and vaccines and dumping chemicals in the sky. Apparently we're under attack, and apparently it's a spiritual battle. And I know a lot of people don't want to come to grips with it. Heck, I didn't want to come to grips with it. I wouldn't believe it, except that I've been doing this research since 2005. And apparently above the eagle on the $1 bill, there are the 13 stars that also make up the Star of David, aka also known as the Moloch or Rephaim, and it is 13 stars, and 13 is a satanic number. If you go look up witchcraft or witches 13, it takes 13 witches to make a coven. So they're putting these symbols right on our money. Everybody knows this, along with, also interestingly enough, 13 stripes on that shield, 13 leaves on the one claw of the eagle, 13 arrows, and 9 feathers on the bottom. 9 is the number for Lucifer, Satan. So I found these pictures and I looked at them earlier, just trying to wrap my head around this six-pointed star on the Israeli flag. And I guess apparently it goes way back in antiquity, history. Also represented in Buddhism, Moloch, Rephaim, Hinduism, not the Star of David, and apparently in the Bible, Acts 7:43, no, you carried the tent of Moloch and the star of your god Rephaim. The idols you made so that you could worship them, Therefore I will send you into exile beyond Babel. So apparently that's when the Lord had the king of Babylonia go down and destroy Jerusalem. And apparently they use these symbols all the time. Apparently in this picture on the Yahoo image site, we have Miley Cyrus holding the six-pointed star over her. And Miley showing allegiance to her god, the god of this planet, Saturn. This is the star of Rephaim. And this particular picture says, research it, go look it up. So they do have the movie stars and famous people doing all these kinds of things, and these kinds of things, and these kinds of things, and so much more. Mocking us and showing us, but are we paying attention? So these are some of the pictures I found that make up the six-pointed star on the Israeli flag, clearly 666, similar to the Masonic symbols. The hexagon, Saturn, and also on the back of the dollar bill, I'm sure everybody's probably aware of the all-seeing eye. So I guess that would be Rephaim, Moloch, reptilian. Over here where the six-pointed star would make up the 13 stars above the eagle's head. And the stripes on the eagle's plaque is 13. And apparently there's 13 levels on this pyramid. And New World Order is under the pyramid. And the eye, as you see, and of course on the other side of the dollar bill, I point out on top of that one there, if the camera's going to focus, there's a little owl. Right on that one in the center of this video. Little owl. Moloch. Here's an ancient, or I guess historic plaque on top of some building. As you can see, the six-pointed star with the all-seeing eye in the middle of it. So we can say they go together, they are together, and we can say that the all-seeing eye is above the pyramid, and with the six-pointed star, as mentioned in the Bible, to be the demon god Rephaim, Moloch, Baal, and of course it's on the Israeli flag. So if all this is connected, what should we expect from a nation that apparently has a deity that it worships, that's Rephaim, Moloch, Baal, Satan, also names like Isis, Osiris, and many others, as you'll see in these pictures. So here's another picture on Yahoo image site. Somebody else is putting this stuff together. I just go do my research and report. But apparently in the Bible, Acts 7:43, you took up the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your god Rephaim, figures which you made to worship them. So apparently this global world order with this new world religion, this is the deity they are going to try to force people to worship, and they're trying to destroy Christianity, apparently. Revelation 2:9 on the bottom of this card. I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews, but are not. They are of the synagogue of Satan. Revelation 2:9. And plenty of pictures throughout history that they feed sacrifices to these deities, beings. Apparently, they control the Vatican. There's the six-pointed star. More about the synagogue of Satan. That doesn't mean Christians are Satanists. It means that they control the Vatican now. And this has Acts 7:43 written on the bottom here. Tabernacle of Moloch. And there's the Pope's headdress. And apparently inside the church is a column with the six-pointed star. And this alchemy picture, Rosicrucian picture, you see it a lot of places in the mystery religion and mystery organizations, the cults. Notice around this image of this guy looking down, or reflecting down maybe on a pool of water, as above so below. But pay attention. It has the Knights of Malta symbol in the middle, and also is circled by a serpent eating its tail. So throughout history, apparently, all over the world, we can find the six-pointed star. It is not unique to Israel. Apparently, all over the world, these interdimensional beings have interacted with humanity in Japan, Egypt, Cyprus, Lebanon, Mongolia, Wales, Arabia, Iran, Turkey, Ireland, Russia. So apparently it's not Jewish. It's some kind of mystery religion. Six-pointed star on this picture on the Yahoo image site. Vice versa, occultism. You see the sun face there. Apparently it is symbols for planets, and the astrological symbols, Scorpio, Leo the lion, and other ones around this thing, Pisces, the 12 constellations, with the six-pointed star, with a card that says vice versa, occultism. Apparently there's something to this magic stuff, which maybe the rest of us need to wake up about. Six-pointed star. All-seeing eye on the bottom one in the middle of the star. A skull in the middle of the star. The one with the crown has a serpent eating its tail. A SWAT sticker. How much evidence do we need here? Israeli flag. The six-pointed star with the skull, the six-pointed star with the serpent eating its tail, a crown. So I guess Rephaim, the demon, wants to wear the crown. Satan, Lucifer, the all-seeing eye. This one. So apparently somebody's put this together. You can find these symbols everywhere. The Knights of Malta on this ancient Egyptian image etched in stone. Here was an interesting one. The common picture in hieroglyphics. Chromatic ancient Egyptian influence. And apparently you can see the eagle represented by Horus with the sun god symbol above his head. And the two ankhs in the Egyptian symbols, claws. The ankh means a T, which means divine, and the circle on top means a serpent, a divine serpent. You can see plenty of serpents in the picture. But doesn't that symbol look eerily to the one they put on the dollar bill? You think that's a coincidence? Above the eagle's head is the circle. And then, of course, if you connect the two inverted pyramids, that's the six-pointed star, and then the 13 lines on the shield, and the 13 feathers, and the 13 arrows. So what is this symbol that's on the Israeli flag? The people who apparently are getting our government, pressing them, and apparently they're doing it, trying to pass legislation that people can't boycott Israel and say negative things about Israel, because apparently Israel is going to be the representative of the deity, the God they're going to force on the world's people, with this prophesized Antichrist, and they're trying to destroy Christianity. But they're also in the current press releases and videos I've been watching. Apparently, they're trying to press the United States government and President Donald Trump to enforce the Noahide laws. And specifically in those Noahide laws, nothing to do with Noah, by the way, it says it's blasphemy to speak negative of the Jews and their God. And these are the different names of Rephaim. So this historic symbol, also in this case, it has Jehovah above the six-pointed star. Tetragrammation, Adonai, different names for these Kabbalistic deities. Six-pointed star, five-pointed stars, Jehovah, and other symbols, Adonai, tetragrammation, magic, witchcraft, Messiah. Just saying. I look at the pictures and put the two and two together, like somebody did here with this picture on Yahoo image site. When you look up Rephaim, you can see the Star of David, one on the dollar bill, the six-pointed stars, the eagle's head continuing to form. Somebody else put this stuff together. If I want to learn what something means, I go look at the pictures, and it helps speed up the process of me understanding, coming to grips with what's going on. The ancient Sumerian city in southern Iraq, 3,000-year-old tablets specify the celestial identity of Ishtar as an eight-pointed star. And the creator of the Church of Satan, apparently the fastest growing church in the world right now, and one of my commenters said, Satan is the real God. Go look at this website. And he pasted the joyofsatan.com into my comment section. So I went there and looked at it. So this is the guy who apparently created the Church of Satan. And apparently, according to this card, he was a Jewish person, Anton LaVey. And a lot of people are followers of Satanism these days. Here he is with the serpent. Is there any doubt what we're dealing with? Here's a person in a yoga position. So it is part of the New Age teachings and occult that a lot of people are into. I don't profess to understand everything, but I'm slowly learning. As above, so below, six-pointed star, Moloch, Rephaim, Satan, Baal, Merkabah, that symbol that Barbara Marciniak uses in her book, The Bringers of the Dawn, and her videos you can go watch on YouTube. And she has a Merkabah, that six-pointed stone thing, and turns it around. And she goes into a trance and she starts talking to these entities. She says, I see they're here, the pixies and the elves and the Palladians and all you beings, welcome. Go watch her videos. And using the Merkabah, this six-pointed star symbol, which I have more material on that. But again, here's this guy here, as above, so below, with all the symbols. This was an interesting picture here, connecting the dots, because we talk about the Sephiroth, the Kabbalah, which many Kabbalists have been accused of sorcery, witchcraft. So here you have the Sephiroth when I looked up Rephaim, but this was one of the pictures, and you see the six-pointed star between the two serpents. Six-pointed star. Is there any doubt here what we're talking about? The serpents, the Hebrew characters below, Anton LaVey has a black cube for a ring. Saturn. United Nations in the meditation room has a black cube. Mecca, where the Islamists go and walk around this huge black stone. Apparently there's these black stone monuments all over the country. The rabbis with the black stones on their forehead. So here's the Church of Satan leader, Anton LaVey, with the black stone in his right hand. And here's a rabbi with a black stone on his forehead. Revelation 13.16. I haven't looked that up. Connecting the dots. Somebody's got on here Satan inside. 6-pointed star. You think they control the Vatican? Six-pointed star, 8-pointed star, 5-pointed star. Seems like it's all similar in meanings. I'm not trying to learn this cult material too much. I just want to figure out who's doing what and why. The winter solstice, remember that was the same day that they took over the USA money supply, December 21st, 1913. So they do use these solstices and equinoxes and bring us a lot of these witchcraft holidays. Somebody else put this together, not me. There you got Moloch and Baal by my fingers. Moon God, darkness. Dreadlord of darkness. Sun God, light. Chum, Rephaim. All the same pagan worship symbols, and somebody put the cross on this one. I don't believe Jesus coming from the spiritual world to tell us that we are to love one another is a pagan religion. And apparently the French Freemasons donated this Statue of Liberty to the United States with the symbol on her head apparently having occult meaning. These are the pictures I found under Rephaim. And look at this being with the 5-pointed star inverted, standing on a bunch of skulls. Apparently all kinds of demon people opposite my fingers. And a bunch of souls or bodies where my fingers are or something. Pretty crazy looking creatures here. Serpents, stars. Black cubes on the rabbis' foreheads. Here's Mecca. Black cube fits in the 6-pointed star. So a lot of this has to do with the Merkaba and other symbols. Apparently geometry opening up portals to another world. So here's your Pope with the black Pope or something behind him. Kind of a nasty looking man there. So who controls the church? You know, I do remember there were some good popes. But in 1500, when the Jews were banished from Spain, some of them could stay if they converted to Christianity, which they did so they could stay, but they continued to practice their Kabbalistic satanic rituals. So they were getting arrested, even killed, imprisoned. But anyways, Ignatius Loyola, one of the conversos, Marranos, Jewish persons in Spain who converted, was arrested and hauled before the Pope. But when he came out of the Pope's room, when he had a meeting, they had created the Jesuits, and they became the enforcers and defenders of the church and the assassins. And apparently the Black Pope is higher in power than the Pope we see on TV, etc. As the story goes on some other books I've gone over. So they have this religion where they make sacrifices, and it says it in the Bible in Jeremiah, when the Lord spoke to Jeremiah and spoke to the king of Babylonia and told him to go down to Jerusalem, destroy the city, destroy the temple, kill people and take the rest of them prisoners because they were sacrificing their sons and daughters to Moloch. Apparently, God wasn't happy with that. Just more pictures I found on the Yahoo image search, Rephaim. Somebody's putting these things together. This is an interesting one here, tetragrammation. So some kind of magic symbol here with the 5-pointed star. Looks like a naked man on it. And if you can see it, there's a 6-pointed star. Six-pointed star, and the word tetragrammation. That would be numerology magic. The 5-pointed star with the man, and then the 6-pointed star, and tetragrammation, and the sword for the Shriners on the bottom. The New Age religion and their propaganda and social conditioning the public to discredit and destroy Christianity. So here you have the chakra system symbol and the 6-pointed star. And he's doing the 6 sign with his hands, it looks like. Another ancient, probably a cuneiform tablet. They used to put these little tablets, etch them in stone, and then they could press the stone into mud and make copies. But here they clearly have the 6-pointed star. And the last one, last picture I have for this particular thing I looked up. They have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch. So apparently this is Amo 5.26 in the Bible. Moloch and Chum, that's the another name for Moloch, Chiun. Your images, the star of your God, which ye have made to yourselves. So apparently they're worshiping these satanic beings. Translation, you lifted up your God, King Cain. Cain was, of course, the first murderer, the first child of Eve, and he slew the second child, Abel. So apparently there are descendants of Cain, the first human murderer, the star messenger of Satan, and you appointed to yourself. So here I am reading this book with the 6-pointed star, and also on page 23. Our national character is too historically famous, and in spite of every degradation, too fine to make its annihilation desirable. And the next thing I read earlier, for a little period they managed to tolerate us, and then their hostility breaks out again and again. The world is provoked, next page, somehow by our prosperity. That's what it says here. The world is provoked somehow by our prosperity. And I know they took over the USA money supply on the winter solstice in 1913, probably using witchcraft and magic special days according to numerology and astrology to be able to accomplish that feat of controlling the United States, the politicians, and our money supply, after not having control of it for almost 50 years, and several assassination attempts on our presidents from 1850 to 1913, a couple of them successful. including in that period of time, Abraham Lincoln, who wanted America to print its own money. He was assassinated. President John Kennedy, in his famous speech, said secret societies are repugnant to the American way of life and I intend to expose them. He was assassinated. You see the problem we have? They're not above assassinating people, discrediting people, and now they have all kinds of advanced technologies. Probably can zap us with a computer in a directed energy beam or something else. It is a little frightening, to say the least. So according to this book, anti-Semitism is a result of the world being provoked somehow by our prosperity, and apparently they're using Kabbalistic magic witchcraft, which apparently is controlling demons and beings and different things to control the outcome in reality. They plan their events these ways on these satanic holidays. Numerology, geometry, and all these other mystical symbols, which we will continue to be looking at. Another topic I want to talk about during this book is the sacred symbols. All these sacred symbols, what do they mean? We're going to talk about that probably in the next book review on this book. Quite bizarre. I take my time looking at those pictures. Sometimes I just look at it for a couple minutes, you know, trying to figure out, like this one here. Well, I had it right here. Here it is. Tetragrammation. Look at the eyes on that star, the Hebrew names for God on it, the moon, the serpents, the wings, the sword, the six-pointed star, tetragrammation. So I have another whole stack of pictures for the next video. We can try to understand this. I'll continue to look up the details and have a clearer understanding when I show it. But I do know you can see near my fingers on the top row on that star the ineffable name of the God, I guess also called Yahweh or Jehovah, and the eyes and the five-pointed star and the six-pointed star with the serpent eating its tail by my fingers. So I have a whole stack of those pictures. So apparently, like I said here, the world is provoked somehow by our prosperity because it has for many centuries been accustomed to consider us as the most contemptible among the poverty-stricken. In its ignorance and narrowness of heart, it fails to observe that prosperity weakens our Judaism and extinguishes our particularities. It is only pressure that forces us back to the parent stem. So they have to have pressure. They have to have anti-Semitism to keep them connected and to depend on one another. So a lot of anti-Semitism, according to my research, was artificially created so that they would enforce the Jews who wanted to go assimilate with the rest of us to turn around and run back to the group, because they would do things that would make the non-Jews very angry at them, hence creating anti-Semitism. So they were using that particular problem to keep them into the parent stem, as Theodor Herzl writes here in 1896. It is only hatred encompassing us that makes us strangers once more. Thus, whether we like it or not, we are now, and shall henceforth remain, a historic group with unmistakable characteristics common to all. Last sentence on that top paragraph. So there are intentional efforts to keep them connected. They never wanted to assimilate with the rest of us. They did not want to intermarry with the rest of the people wherever they went all over the world. They had their own secret religion and they practiced it in practice. It involves the six-pointed star, apparently. We are one people. Our enemies have made us one without our consent, as repeatedly happens in history. Distress binds us together. Distress binds us together. So they need distress. And thus united, we suddenly discover our strength. So by creating distress, they would be binded together, and that's where they got their strength, by pooling their money and living in ghettos and coming up with the controlling powers using Kabbalah, magic, witchcraft to curry favors of the kings and queens and other elites all over the planet. This is documented. They were called magicians, etc. Doctors, advisors. Yes, we are strong enough to form a state, and indeed a model state. We possess all human and material resources necessary for the purpose. Theodor Herzl in 1896. Before World War I, before World War II, before 9/11, before World War III, which seems to be being prepared for. Like, it seems like it's looming, this world revolution. Heck, World War III may be actually going on, but we just don't see it. And it's a plan. It says it right here. We possess all human and material resources necessary for the purpose. There is therefore the appropriate place. This is therefore the appropriate place to give an account of what has been somewhat roughly termed our human material. But it would not be appreciated till the broad lines of the plan. So they have a plan in this book. That's what this book is. It's a plan for the Jewish state. Theodor Herzl, he had a lot of meetings with the Zionist Congress and leaders throughout the years. He was a journalist, a well-known, educated man. And they had a plan. They've been plotting for this Jewish state for hundreds of years, and apparently yearning for it ever since it was broken up 2,000 years ago, apparently by God. And even before that, apparently by God, in the book of Jeremiah, where the king of Babylon had to go down and destroy the second temple and take the Jewish people into captivity. And apparently, maybe it's not Jewish people, but it's Jews who call themselves Jews but are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. And I didn't say that. That's in Revelation, last book in the Bible, 2.9 and 3.9, and many other places I've been reading here. I guess if Jesus was Jewish and we're all Christians, then maybe we're the real Jews. Maybe it's a huge deception. All right, so it says here in this book, the plan. You see it says the plan. The whole plan in its essence is in essence perfectly simple, as it must necessarily be if it is to come within the comprehension of all. Let the sovereignty be granted us over a portion of the globe, large enough to satisfy rightful requirements of a nation. The rest we shall manage for ourselves. So if you go look online, I made some notes here. Maps for a greater Israel. So they were planning, and it's written in these books, the ancient property lines of Judea from the Iraqi Euphrates to the Egyptian Nile. A lot of the books prophesize they're going to try to control the world with an antichrist being called the Global World Order. They use the Kabbalah, the Illuminati, Masonry, Satanism, Zionism, and the banksters to enable them to do it, controlling our politicians. So here we go, 1896, Theodor Herzl. The creation of a new state is neither ridiculous nor impossible. We have in our day witnessed the process in connection with nations which were not largely members of the middle class, but poorer, less educated, and consequently weaker than ourselves. The governments of all countries, scourged by anti-Semitism, will be keenly interested in assisting us to obtain the sovereignty we want. And remember, they have a religion. Part of biblical prophecy. According to the Bible, they crucified Jesus Christ. According to the Old Testament, the Lord told Jeremiah and the king of Babylonia to go down there and destroy the Hebrews because they were sacrificing their sons and daughters to the demon Moloch, Rephaim, Baal. It's in the Bible. So is it an anti-Semitism thing to try to find out what's going on in the world and who's going to be ruling the world? Who controls America today? The politicians? Even with Ron Paul saying that they're controlling everything. There was a video I was watching here yesterday. I take notes I can hardly read. I write so fast. But apparently, Congresswoman ex-Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney, former U.S. Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney, you can go look this up. So she was a Congresswoman, and she's on a video with face-to-face with Marzi Hashimi on Press TV. So here's this black lady, ex-Congresswoman, on Press TV, face-to-face, saying this. She said, "When I first got to Congress, I was approached and told I had to sign this pledge." You can go watch the video. "I had to sign a pledge to some military superiority of Israel, economic assistance to Israel, pledge allegiance to Israel, and if we didn't do this, we would not be in office very long. We certainly wouldn't be re-elected." And she said it was quite horrible the way they were coercing all congressmen, congresswomen, House of Representatives to signing these pledges 100%. And these people could not be elected unless they were catering to these people, the Jewish Political Action Committees and so many others. And it was right in their faces. The pro-Israel lobby, a huge problem, she says. Congressman Cynthia McKinney, she goes into great detail about how all the people, when they get to Congress or before they get elected, have to sign these pledges. And if they do not, AIPAC will aggressively destroy you, she says. And apparently, so they control our leaders. And one of the pledges she says they had to sign is to support the idea of Jerusalem being recognized as the capital city of Israel. So fulfilling a biblical prophecy. So then I'm reading this book. We'll start back here on page 25, Theodor Herzl. The creation of a new state is neither ridiculous nor impossible. So they're controlling the USA money supply in 1913. They lost control from about 1850 to 1913. A couple USA presidents were assassinated. Apparently, They had a corporation before that, way back. And the charter was revoked when it expired because people knew what was going on. And of course, they had taken over and created the banking system in Germany in the 1800s and 1700s. And earlier than that, they had the King of Britain executed and took over that country. And before that, or after that, they had the King of France executed, took over that country during the Revolution. Even in the Encyclopedia Judaica, I made videos on that, the Jews were historically involved in creating and bringing about revolutions. Nestor Webster's World Revolution, the only video YouTube actually deleted and gave me a strike on my account, but my other videos, many of them on these issues and Zionisms, they have restrictions on them, and you have to acknowledge a warning before you can watch it. Just saying, the evidence that we're up against something quite horrible is overwhelming. We have in our day witnessed the process in connection with nations that were not largely members of the middle class. I read that. The governments of all countries scourged by anti-Semitism will be keenly interested in assisting us to obtain the sovereignty we want. So they controlled the banks, hence they controlled the politicians. They were agitating and creating all the problems. And even with the Balfour Agreement in Britain during World War I, when Britain was losing to Germany, so Lord Balfour, representing the British government, recognizes the Jewish claim to the Palestinian territory, and he was one insider after they executed the king and took over the country. He was part of the secret societies. So it really wasn't the British people with the Balfour Agreement. It was an insider. Secret society member. And they got that coin with President Donald Trump's head on it. And King Cyrus, the last king to help the Jews rebuild the King Solomon's temple the second time. And above their heads it says Balfour Agreement. And the President Declaration, President Donald Trump's declaration. So they're trying to say that President Donald Trump is one of these Messiah-type characters, possibly. Maybe related to ancient King David. And that was in the some of the material I researched. I didn't make that up. So this certainly is a huge spiritual battle against we the people all over the planet. So back to Theodor Herzl's plan. The plan, simple in design but complicated in execution, will be carried out by two agencies: the Society of Jews and the Jewish Company. So remember now, 1896, and a few years later they control the USA money supply and the politicians and the country, and they'd already taken over the banking systems of countries all over Europe. Wow. The Society of Jews will do the preparatory work in the domains of science and politics, which the Jewish Company will afterwards apply practically. So they controlled the banking systems, and they were forming these organizations, the Jewish Company and the Society of Jews, and they were going to get involved in science and politics, controlling the leaders. Just like Congressman Cynthia McKinney was saying, former U.S. Congresswoman. In her interview I watched on a video, I watched her say all these things, face to face with Marzi Hashemi, Hashemi on Press TV. So just look up Congressman Cynthia McKinney, and she tells all about how the people, when they go to Washington, have to sign these pledges, probably even before they get elected, or they wouldn't be elected. If you don't get these people's millions and millions of dollars, you can't get into office. So the whole system is bought and paid for and controlled. And now they're trying to get the U.S. government and President Donald Trump to create legislation banning anybody from, making it illegal for people to want to say negative things about Israel and apparently even make it some kind of religion, that if you do say something about Israel, you're talking about their God, you're committing heresy according to the Noahide laws, punishable by beheading, possibly. A lot of stuff on the internet about that, 30,000 guillotines and so much more. Quite crazy, do you think? The Jewish company will be the liquidating agent. So 1896, Theodor Herzl, 120-something years ago, was helping the Jewish Zionists and the Jewish congresses all over the world, the elites that controlled the banking systems, create these liquidating companies so they could sell all of the Jewish assets all over the world and immigrate to Israel, something called Aliyah. I've showed pictures on that. We'll be looking at that again. So Aliyah, the return, part of some kind of biblical prophecy, probably a fake biblical prophecy, something they created. Remember, they controlled the publishing companies and the media and so much more. So they want the rest of us to believe all this is God's plan. With the six-pointed star representing Moloch, Rephaim, the fallen angel demon. Just saying. What to believe? What to believe? So the Jewish company will be the liquidating agent of the business interest of departing Jews and will organize commerce and trade in the new country. 1896. Poor Palestinian people never saw this coming. All the other Arab nations that have been destroyed since 9/11 never saw this coming. I wonder if the rest of us will wake up, or will we be in the same category that we never saw it coming when they do create this world government. Microchipping people, facial recognition systems, artificial intelligence, directed energy weapons, microwave weapons, and so much more. Can you just see what they're planning? Like the Hunger Games movie? The symbolism and the signs are everywhere. You don't have to be a very bright person to see this stuff. John Bolton, on a video I was watching this morning, he's demonizing Venezuela. Anything they can't control, they're going to destroy. We must not imagine the departure of the Jews to be a sudden one. So all this is planned in 1896. It will be gradual, continuous, and will cover many decades. And I know a lot of people say, oh, they've been killing people all along and stuff happens. A lot of people don't realize these people plan long term. To take over the world wasn't easy. It required World War I and World War II. And apparently, according to Albert Pike in 1880-something, in his letter to his friend Mazzini, a high-level Freemason in Italy, that 3 world wars would be required. And Albert Pike was into the occult and apparently in communication with a being called a master, which is probably part of these groups with the fallen angels, Rephaim and Moloch and Baal. So who do you suppose they're talking to behind the veil, the invisible reality, these beings? Who are they sacrificing humans to? So anyways, according to Theodor Herzl, it says here the poorest will go first to cultivate the soil. And I've showed pictures before World War I, during World War I, in the middle between World War I and World War II. Planes, trains, ships. They've been shipping people to Israel in the Palestinian area for over 100 years. This has been long in the works. A plan. This guy designed the plan, Theodor Herzl. You can go get the book. Probably find it free PDF online. So the Jewish company will be liquidating everything, and Jews won't be leaving in a sudden rush. It'll be a gradual, continuous, and will cover many decades. The poorest will go first to cultivate the soil in accordance with the preconceived plan. They will construct roads, bridges, railways, telegraph installations, regulate rivers, and build their own dwellings. Their labor will create trade. Trade will create markets, and markets will attract new settlers. And for every man will go voluntarily at his own expense and his own risk. The labor expended on the land will enhance its value, and the Jews will soon perceive a new and permanent sphere of operation is opening here for that spirit of enterprise which has heretofore met only with hatred and obloquy, ridicule or something. Wow. I found a website, so I copied some pages. I want to talk about it. It seems to be related to what I've been going over. You know, who are these people? Why did they have persecution and prosecution and massacres and banishment for 2,000 years? Why were they dispersed all over the world, not allowed to live in Jerusalem for 2,000 years? Why are they returning? And why were they exiled and banished 500 years before that, 600 years before that, when the king of Babylon was sent down there to destroy them, according to Jeremiah in the Old Testament, sent down there by the Lord? And more. Apparently, when they were guided out of Egypt with Moses, and Moses went up to Mount Sinai to talk to God, I guess, the burning bush, to get the 10 Commandments, etc. And when Moses came down the mountain, the Jews had collected all their gold and built a golden calf, Moloch, and were having a drunken orgy, a ritual. Really ticked off Moses. He smashed the tablets. There's plenty of pictures you can see. He had to go up to the mountain and for 40 days and 40 nights to get the new tablets. And then the Jews had to wander in the desert for 40 years for punishment, according to some of the research I've done. So there's 3 incidences where God punished the Jews. When they had to wander for 40 years, the destruction by the Babylonian king, and then after crucifying Jesus, not allowed to live there for 2,000 years. And now they're back. They're back. They're in control. They control the money. They put the symbols on our dollars. According to Morals and Dogma, the eagle represents Satan. And you got the stars above it, 13 stars. And you got the all-seeing eye, apparently representing the Moloch Satan character. And then, of course, on the other side, you have even the owl perched on the one, and probably other symbolism on the dollar. So the web page I found was kind of interesting. I read it in its entirety today. Engineers of the New World Order, the Stargate Cube. So we noticed the rabbis wore the cube on their head, and the Church of Satan, Lavoie, had the black cube ring, and the Arabs walk around a giant black cube at Mecca. And apparently even in New York City there's a big statue of a black cube, and the United Nations in the meditation room is a black cube. So I found this website kind of interesting. You can go look into it and see it for yourself. The New World Order Agenda, August 26, 2014. So if you've been like me researching this stuff for several years, you've seen a lot of the signs and symbols. Something is obviously not right going on in the world. And even with John Bolton demonizing Venezuela now, a lot of people don't know the reason Venezuela is in dire straits is because it's being censored, or a big embargo against any kind of trade in or out of Venezuela. So the people are starving because the United States is putting pressure, and it's because the United States is controlled by these elites, the Illuminati, Freemasons, high levels, and other people apparently into this Church of Satan organization. And if they can't control it, they destroy it. And apparently that's why they have to destroy Iran. If they can't control it, they have to destroy it. And Iran is a strong country, and being right there on the front line of this plan for a greater Israel, they probably figure they have to destroy Iran, which apparently they even told General Wesley Clark that days after 9/11, Iran was on the list, and Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan. And this is all part of the fulfillment to bring about the greater Israel, which involves some kind of anti-Christian religion, Satanism. Just saying. There's a comment section below. If you think I'm wrong here, please point out where, and I'll go research it. But anyways, this article, website, you can go look it up. Engineers of the New World Order Stargate Cube. In the Bible, John 3:8, for this purpose the Son of God was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil. It's in the Bible. So Jesus was sent to destroy the works of the devil, and the Jews were banned from living in Jerusalem in that area for 2,000 years. You think it was the hand of God? According to the Bible, that's what it was. Imagine, if you will, the cube. A power box of the mind. And a lot of people are familiar with the Stonehenge or the big pyramids, and then apparently they attract energy, and witchcraft involves geometry and numerology and astrology, part of the divination, sorcerers, alchemy, Kabbalah. Throughout history, witches were burned and other people accused of practicing Satanism, sacrificing people. This is all reality. This all happened. And apparently, even with Jeff Rentz on one of those videos I was watching not too long ago with Jordan Maxwell, Jeff Rentz skeptically, innocently asked Jordan Maxwell, do you really think they're sacrificing people these days? And Jordan Maxwell, a well-known researcher, said on the Jeff Rentz video, you can go look it up, Jeff Rentz and Jordan Maxwell. Jordan Maxwell said, yeah, up around the hills here, LA, Hollywood, sacrifices of humans are going on every day. Jordan Maxwell said that. Smarter guy than me. Been researching this material for 40 years. He talks all about it. And you listen to Bill Cooper's videos, Ted Gunderson's, Michael Rupert, so many others. A lot of people who were killed. So you got this black cube, some kind of stone that draws energy, just like CERN with the goddess of destruction Shiva out front. And CERN has a lot of symbolism with it, even the 666 and the logo, if you go check on the internet. So apparently we the people are surrounded by this Rephaim, Moloch, Baal, Satan, Lucifer, and the other mystery deities for these occultists. And maybe this document will shed a little bit more light on it. So the black cube of Saturn. So apparently they have one in Australia, Denmark, Manhattan, and Santana. Global occult worship. Global occult worship. Says in that last sentence, this is a big connection to the black cube and today's end times. It goes back to the beginning of time on this earth. This dark plan that involves the whole world has gone on in secret for many centuries. It is finally being played out as the New World Order coming and growing stronger every day. Oh my, people better wake up. And apparently it's got some pictures here. But they have this pantheon of deities they worship. We've all seen these pictures, but you probably didn't know what they mean. But the first character here, right there, with the sun disk on his head is Horus. And apparently he's over here too. But he's the guy on the back of the dollar bill with the all-seeing eye, represented by Horus. And so in ancient Egypt, they were worshiping these deities. They're etched into these buildings. Egypt, Phale, Pylon. This slide, colored by Joseph Hawks, Brooklyn Museum Archives. The 5th Dynasty, Osiris, Isis. This was a cult discovered in ancient history called the Cult of Isis and Osiris. This cult carried the same pagan symbolism of today, of the Islam, Shriners, Freemasons, false Jews, Jesuits, satanic cults, Christian Zionism, Catholic Church, as well as many other pagan religions. This is not hard to prove, as this information can be found by anyone researching it today. I will show you this below and you can connect the dots. So I certainly want to give credit where credit is due. Go look at this guy's website. I just copied the one page that opened. So apparently in the Bible, Corinthians 10-20, no, I imply that what pagans sacrifice, they offer to demons and not to God. I do not want you to participate with demons. That's what God says in Corinthians. I do not want you to be participants with demons. So there you have Isis, or actually Osiris sitting in the chair, his son Horus in the back, and it says in this picture Osiris, Anubis, and Horus from a tomb painting. So apparently, according to this material and other material, these people had control of the world, which apparently is why God brought about the Great Flood. And there's plenty of evidence that humans all over the world, including the Hopi Indians and caves in Romania and Ecuador, apparently whatever the powerful beings were, they helped humans build tunnels in mountains and in the ground to survive the Great Flood. So God wanted to destroy these beings, and apparently they're back. But he wanted to keep the human race alive on the planet. And again, there's plenty of evidence that people were saved all over the world. In Eric Van Doniken's books, The Gold of the Gods, there's those caves in Ecuador. Frank Waters' books on the Hopi Indians talks about it. And Peter Moon and other people's talk about the caves in Romania. So apparently there was a huge underground system where a lot of people were saved. So there's more to this reality than we all know, obviously. And apparently they have advanced technologies and planned to retake control of the world. Oh my. So it says here, Osiris was the first king of Egypt in the 5th dynasty, and later he was the god of the underworld. Isis was the first queen, Egypt, and the goddess of magic, Kabbalah, funerary goddess, protector of the king. They were brother and sister, husband and wife, the sons and daughter of Satan, and the same bloodline of Cain, the son of the serpent. So apparently, according to the Rosicrucians, the first human put on this earth was Cain, I should say Eve, and to be a companion to Samuel, i.e. Satan. They had a son named Cain, but then Satan, Samuel, was bored of being on planet Earth, according to the Rosicrucian material. So he went back into the heavenly realm, abandoned his wife that God had made for him, and his son that was half divine and half human. So God, feeling sorry for Eve, created Adam, according to the Rosicrucian material. They had a son named Abel. So the first son, Cain, from Samuel, Satan, was jealous of Abel and murdered him, the first murder of the humans. And then Adam and Eve had a second son, Seth. So Abel was killed by Cain. So the descendants of humanity apparently come from the lineage of Cain and the lineage of Seth. Human and human, Adam and Eve, or human and divine, the serpent, the son of the serpent being. According to the Rosicrucian material. Just FYI. So if you put all this together, you can kind of get a better snapshot in your brain what it all means. Anyways, in this article, this author says, today they are called the royal blue bloods. And apparently a lot of these kings and queens and elites all over the world say they have a divine right to rule the planet. And maybe they know what kind of bloodline they come from and stuff they keep from the rest of us. So it says here, this author says you can research the 13 bloodlines that intermarry today. And this would be your Rockefellers and Rothschilds and DuPonts and all these other names and elites we see. Different levels, and I guess there's more of them than 13, but they compete to be in the group of 13, the high-level power structure. So apparently, according to historic records and research, some of these people have fell out of the 13 bloodlines, and others have risen up. And hence, as we all know today, we have all these strange billionaires all over the planet controlling a lot of things. Planning, apparently, a depopulation event and a global world order. This kind of stuff we're talking about. The reason why apparently God brought about the Great Flood. This ancient Egyptian cult was very displeasing to the true Creator God, so he wiped it out by the flood. I told you I read all of this earlier. So the same cult, again, is now growing worldwide. It has many connections to understand, and its many layers of its secret of the dark. Genesis 6:6. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. So there's another thing here that says the 18th dynasty, Akhenaten. Who are these people that are etched in stone? Aleister Crowley, known as the evilest man alive. It's on this guy's website. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterwards. So there were these divine beings that were on earth when the sons of God, so these divine beings like Samuel, descendants of Cain, maybe, they decided to have sex with the daughters of humans and had children with them. And these were apparently a lot of those mythical characters, maybe even half human and half beast. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. So that might explain some of the mythology. So it says here, Freemasons and Shriners. The top 5% of 33 and above Masons are Jewish Muslims that give their oath to Allah. I thought that was strange. I'm not quite sure I understand that, but I do know they have the black stone over there in Mecca. So, the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine are commonly known as Shriners, abbreviated AAONMS, established in 1870. Here's one reference to that re-Shriner's oath. So you can go watch this video. crossbearer-brian.tripod.com, ID 189HTML. But you can go to this website and just click it. So it does talk about Aleister Crowley was a Shriner, and he wrote a book of law that's in the Grand Lodge. That would be series 23 of my series, if you want to go watch my video about the Book of the Law. And a couple other books I've discovered that's involved in this satanic magic. And I do not read the incantations, and neither should you. When you read these books, do not speak those words aloud. Magic is real. There's power. You can invite these demons into your realm. Just warning, don't do it. Pay attention to how your mind works, what you're thinking. Apparently, they have a lot of tools at their disposal to make you think things that you think you're thinking, and it's really not you. That sounded crazy, didn't it? But apparently, I have information to suggest just that. So, the Book of the Law by Aleister Crowley is a very sick-minded, evil, satanic book. This is the main Universal Lodge's website, and see how they post it on the front page. So the Universal Masonic Lodges is publishing Aleister Crowley's sinister book, the Book of the Law, which teaches there's only one law. Do as thou wilt. Do whatever you want to do. There are no laws. You can do anything. You can rob people, rape people, whatever you want to do. Kill people. If you have an inclination, who is to deny you that? That's what they teach. Opposite of God's laws. So it's apparently on this website for the Universal Lodges, and the Egyptian symbol in the Satanic book, you can go find it on the bottom there. OTO-USA.org. Just like the Joy of Satan website you can go find. The Illuminati websites you can go find. They sugarcoat all this. They say it's the good thing, and the Christians are actually the haters, etc., etc. And Joy of Satan, and then they put a statue of the devil in Oklahoma and Detroit and Arkansas and other satanic symbols everywhere. Emmys, Grammys, Super Bowl halftime shows. The recent Super Bowl was full of it. Go on YouTube, watch people's videos and explanations. They'll point out the details. Katy Perry and her rituals, Emmys, Grammys, Beyonce, Madonna. So apparently this website, there's a lot of information here to connect them with these Egyptian symbols and the black cubes. It says on the bottom, this is the same Universal Lodge created by the Bavarian Illuminati, founded in 1776 by Adam Weishaupt, in my opinion, after much research. So apparently in 1776, May 1st is when the Rothschilds instructed Adam Weishaupt to take over the Freemason lodges everywhere, convert them into a worldwide mechanism to control politicians and countries all over the world through the Freemasonic lodges. But apparently it's on the back of the dollar bill, May 1st, on the pyramid. The same date, it's on the back of the dollar bill, is the date that the Rothschilds instructed Adam Weishaupt to create the Illuminati. And apparently if you take the numbers around the pyramid on the dollar bill, it spells Masons and this other word. See how the dollar bill has the date 1776 in Roman numerals? This is the date the Illuminati was founded. This all ties into Saturn, the black cube, and the New World Order. The dollar has New World Order written in Latin. Idol worship to Isis and the moon god. Next page. So apparently there's this next page. History proves that before Islam came into existence, the Sabians in Arabia worshipped the moon god, who was married to the sun goddess. So did God send Muhammad to convince the Arabs not to worship this ancient religion? They gave birth to three goddesses who were called Al-Fat, Al-Uzza, Magnat. They became idols and were worshipped throughout that part of the world as the daughters of Allah. The crescent moon is the symbol everywhere in Islam, In 1950, the moon god was excavated at Hazor in Palestine. So this goes way back. The photo shows Allah sitting on a throne. Notice the crescent moon on his chest. Allah is not an idol, is only an idol. Sorry. So according to the Bible, we're not supposed to worship idols. Symbol crescent moon and star goddess in the 13th century, Arabic manuscript by Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr al-Farasi. It is stated that the alignment are the cycles of the moon and the rising of Canopus, the brightest star after Sirius, set up for the setting crescent moon, the ancient symbol of the Virgin Goddess, which still appears on the national flags of many Islamic nations. In some flags, Algeria, Macedonia, Tunisia, and Turkey. Exodus in the Bible, it says here, "Thou shalt have no gods before me." In Exodus in the Bible, 20-3. So apparently, according to this webpage, Satan has many names. Abaddon, aka Apollyon, Satan, Lucifer, as stated in Revelation 9-11, and Baphomet, aka Mohammed by French translation, and that means accuser and liar. Thief, murderer, and many more names is the names of the deity that the above 33-degree Freemasons worship, also known as the great architect of the universe, and sometimes representative as the all-seeing eye on the back of the dollar bill, Horus. The same deity can be associated with Horus or Osiris, the Egyptian god, and Zeus of the Greeks. Apparently in Revelation 2.9, I mention this all the time, it says here, "I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews, but are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan." That's in the Bible. Revelation 2.9. False Jews. So who's really in charge of Israel today? The Zionists, the banking systems, and the governments. Apparently a lot of them are descendants of the Khazars, a people over there around Ukraine and Poland and Germany and Russia, the great kingdom of Khazaria. And apparently they have some kind of illness, many of them, which causes schizophrenia. In other words, they perceive reality as it doesn't exist. They're living in some kind of world of delusionment. They're not connected to reality. And this is testified by doctors. Just saying. I've watched these videos, I do this research, and I've heard that many times, and I've seen it written many times. So apparently, and also interestingly enough, a lot of your psychics and people who were communicating with other worlds or beings, like Nikola Tesla, come from that part of the world, Serbia and there. So it was a place where a lot of psychics, and they had the gypsies and other peoples. So apparently somewhere along the way, the Hebrews got into the magic and Kabbalah and made it their own. And of course, they wouldn't be Hebrews of the olden days if they were the whole nation of Khazaria, which was a huge area, probably the size of Russia today, that converted to Judaism 1,000 years ago. I made a video on that book and other books related to that topic, and a lot of people know it. So if Revelation says Jews who call themselves Jews but are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan, would it be these converted Khazarians who have mental illnesses and schizophrenia controlling our world? Could it be why such insane things are happening? And this next page on this guy's website shows a lot of people we all know with the Jewish hats on going to the Wailing Wall. There's Obama, there's Bush, there's Putin, there's John Kerry, there's Clinton, there's McCain. So like I said, they control all of our politicians. They're having all these relations with the people who are into this Rephaim, Moloch, secret societies, religion. And many of our well-known presidents and other elites have been photographed. According to this guy's website, this picture's here. Bohemian Grove in California, the giant owl Moloch. They throw a baby in the fire, called the cremation of care. President Reagan, Kissinger, and many others have been photographed here. So we know who they are, this religion they're into: Moloch, Rephaim, Baal, Satan, Lucifer, Isis, Osiris, Horus, and many other names. The elite worship these same false gods as in ancient times. The Bible clearly explains these fake gods. George Bush, John Kerry, false Jews, it says here, are part of this occult and worship at the Bohemian Grove to a great owl god Moloch. They are part of the bloodline of all the presidents related in the United States. So apparently, even according to Fritz Springmeier's book, Bloodlines of the Illuminati, the family tree shows that a lot of U.S. presidents are related to each other. So apparently they are coming from some kind of bloodline. And this author says they're all related to the Queen of England, the Rothschilds, the Jesuit Pope. This is the bloodline of Cain, according to this author of this website. They want the New World Order, and you can hear it from their own mouth. If they want the New World Order, then they want all true followers of Jesus Christ, the one true God, killed. So apparently, according to prophecy, Christians will be the ones persecuted and massacred. They want to worship other gods like Moloch or Lucifer and force those that are not sealed by the Holy Spirit to worship the beast when their God, the Antichrist, comes. So I just found this guy's webpage while I was doing my research, looking up some of these terms and stuff for my book review, with this the Jewish state and the six-pointed symbol, and other sources which I will go over in the Part 5. This is Part 4, Series 252. The Jewish State, Theodor Herzl, 1896. I've been reading his direct words, and I'm looking up this other information regarding the religion. Apparently, Kabbalism is the soul of Judaism today. It says here in the Bible, Leviticus 18.21, "Thou shalt not give any of thy seed to be consecrated to the idol Moloch, nor defile the name of God. I am the Lord." Amos 5.26, "But ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch and Chun, your images, the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves." Apparently Acts 7.43, "Yea, ye took up the tabernacle of Moloch," the little owl perched on the one on the dollar bill, the Bohemian Grove, the street design plan for Washington, D.C., and so much more. I've showed the pictures on that. "The star of your God Rephaim, figures which ye made to worship them, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon." So it says here, here's a short video of this agenda. So you can go look at this guy's website and see the William Cooper video, the Saturn agenda on the bottom there. And then it says Matthew 7.15, "Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are raving wolves." And we know what's going on with John Bolton talking up the destruction of the Venezuela, at least the current president, supporting some self-elected guy who swore himself in. So I guess if you want to take over a country, you can just say, if the power elite behind you start the revolutionary activity and cause all the famine and suffering in Venezuela because of the United States and probably the Pentagon and NATO, controlled by these worshippers of Moloch, the six-pointed star, who control the world and the banking systems. Their symbols are everywhere. Okay, so you may be surprised that Christians like Rick Warren, he is not a true Christian. So a lot of these people are Christian, Jewish, Christian Zionist supporting the six-pointed star global order. And you can check it out. You can see their symbols and what they say. So you need to use some discernment and look into this. Don't believe anything I'm saying. But you can come to your own conclusion. It seems like these people are pretty much on target with all the killing and murdering and thieving going on in preparations for a global world order, with all the propaganda of an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, a pole shift, or global warming, climate change, and terrorism and sustainability and economic threats to destroy the economy and so much more. Microchipping children, weaponized technologies, artificial intelligence, dumping stuff in the sky, controlling the weather, maybe population reduction, weather warfare. Other presidents have accused the United States of weather warfare. So who would be behind all of this insanity? If Star Trek were real, I would get on the horn and say, beam me up, Scotty. I need to get off this crazy, insane planet. All right, so Rick Warren, he is on the Council of Foreign Relations and helping to bring in the one world religion. And you would be shocked at how many false Christian leaders are worldwide. Some are sold out to many, and some are sold out to Satan himself. And we see this in the news all the time. So you have these preachers who gain popularity and are saying that all the religions are one. And they got the Moloch religion there, Judaism, Hinduism, Unitarianism, and the Christian symbol. And well, you get the idea. And of course you got the rabbis with the black boxes, the cube Saturn CERN. Here we see an Orthodox Jew wearing a black box called a tafila on his forehead for morning prayer. These black boxes are called prylacteries, from the ancient Greek prylacteroin, from polysyn, meaning to guard, protect. This is the Saturnian black cube. So they have the Saturnian black cube to guard and protect them. And remember, magic is geometry, numerology, different shapes. So apparently it opens up portals or allows some kind of control. Like King Solomon had his six-pointed ring that he used to call forth demons, Raphaim and Moloch, the fallen angels. Stuff starts to come together here. The little black boxes some Jews wear, I believe, are the same black boxes at Mecca and in the United Nations. It grew into this mess we are now in with ISIS. So you can go see this guy's website, probably a lot more information. But they got this black cube and the five-pointed star. It says on the bottom, these black cubes are worshipped all over the world. And ISIS is a spirit that moves into the slave workers to kill true Christians. They do all the dirty work for the higher chain of command. I believe that this is why religion Islam was created, to destroy Christians worldwide and real Jews. So apparently on Saturn, if you look at it, it says in a computer, 666 is a Bible code. 666, by the way, in a numerology calculator you can look up online, the word computer itself equals 666, along with a lot of other nefarious words. You think that's a coincidence? Just look up numerology calculator on the internet, and they have a whole long list of the words that equal 666. So apparently it manifests the illusions of the third dimension here on Earth. So apparently it is some kind of other reality, this hidden world behind the veil, matrix. CERN is a duplicate of Saturn to open the gateway. So apparently CERN, the collider, is in the same shape as these hexagons and the six-pointed star. Saturn and the sun are portals. Even NASA admits this information. Read the Sun. If you watch videos of the newest footage of NASA, you will see the eye of Saturn in the hexagon. So apparently, top of Saturn looks like that, and CERN looks like that. So are they opening a portal to bring these beings into this reality, their control? And is that why they put the archways of Baal, that's a archway, like a door, in New York and London, and later through UNESCO, 1,000 archways to Baal, B-A-A-L, mentioned in the Bible, right next to Moloch, and of course it connects that with Rephaim, the fallen angel. Were they putting all those archways to Baal in New York, London, and 1,000 other cities all over the world to have some kind of doorways for these beings to enter our reality? Remember, in my opinion, we're spiritual beings in these biological bodies. So why we're here, I don't know, but we're here. Why is this stuff happening? I don't know, but it is. So the best guide I can tell anybody is read the New Testament, what Jesus taught, and rest assured you'll be saved, because that's what it says. Cut and dry. He who believes in me shall be saved. They don't want you to know that. Apparently, it's some kind of harvest event for people's souls. The other dimension, other than heaven, wants our souls. But apparently we have to give it to these creatures. And they want to bring about all this insanity and hatred and theft and murder. So people will act like insane people and go out there and get revenge and kill, thus sentencing themselves to the underworld. It's the best way I can understand it. So the Saturn Moon Matrix as a mind control platform on Earth. So go to this guy's website. So the Saturn Moon Matrix, exopolitics.com. Here is why they worship Saturn and the moon, the same false god the Lord Jesus Christ warned us not to worship. Saturn is a snake being. He is not human-like, although he can enter a human body, and many, for that matter, like ISIS terrorists. Saturn is Satan that manifests his negative energy inside the machine. Thank you for watching my video. Rick Miracle reporting.